And here we go. Game number 1 is going to be between the men right here in the top left-hand corner from Born Gosu. Born G. He'll be Born G. So I will pronounce it Born G. That's how it's right there on my screen is Born G. He goes by the name of Wito. And in the bottom right-hand corner, his opponent, finally we have finally a Terran. It's been PvZ all night long, or PvP. We finally have our Terran player here. He goes by the name of Wolololo, or Wolololo, otherwise known as Rogue. And no, this isn't Rogue who won your WCS and BlizzCon, you know. Unless he's smurfing it, playing Terran, which I bet you he doesn't even know how to play Terran at this point. He's played Zergs for so long, but this is JSL's very own Rogue, or Wolololo. How you want to go about it, guys? I'm gonna call him Rogue. So, and it looks like our blue Terran Rogue is indeed going to go ahead and open up with that Reaper expansion, which means he will indeed follow up with the Hellions behind that. Overlord going to make its way across the map to see this. Now, early game Terran from a Terran player is always the worst. Like, unless you're doing something super off the wall crazy, like proxy barracks into a bunker rush or proxy double Reaper, there's just not a lot Terran has anymore in the early game. It's a very early mid-game transition type pushes that come out. Which, guys, there's a reason why the Raven is coming back with an auto turret. So the auto turret will be coming out here in very future, updates here. I believe that was January's patch that was posted. Now, Wito going to go ahead and spread his overlords out here. Going to get a full scout. Make sure there's nothing too cheeky hidden around the map. Don't want to get caught off guard with the Terran, because Terrans are probably far cheekier than Zergs, or cheekier than Protosses. Now, Wito does go ahead and 17 hatch, 17 pull. Going to get that gas up and running. Should see a factory come down here very shortly. Now, one thing Rogue did here I disagree with is he went through his expansion on the low ground with no kind of actual protection down here. All it's going to take is like 5 lings, 6 lings to get across here. If this gets scouted, it's actually not going to get spotted, so he's actually very safe. In the upper, higher leagues, a lot of the diamond players that I face will actually just float their overlord in here and go like, oh hey, he's low ground expanding? What? And then bam, there's 8 lings just in my base. We already have 4 on the way. We actually have overlord speed before metabolic boost. Alright, so I guess he's wanting to find out exactly what his opponent is up to. I mean, he's not wanting to get that speed upgrade right away, which means, okay, he's going for a 3rd base already. He's going to get ahead in base count. Well, those ghosts, those look like ghosts. Because of the bayonet. I thought there was a ghost there for a second. I was like, wait a second, but those are the new Marines from that war chest. We do have Wolo going to go ahead and expand up to the front. Always curious to see where Terran players are going to start their walls, because I start mine kind of like right here at this corner and come across. So that way when your opponent does kind of run into your base, it kind of spreads the damage out and takes longer for them to actually start dealing damage to your wall off. Where if it's just a straight wall, it's like everything just gets spread out way too fast, and Bane busts happen a lot easier. It doesn't deflect some of the damage, just so to speak. Now, Zerg going up to 3 base. Terran looking like he wants to go ahead and get some kind of tank pressure going on here. Interestingly enough, he didn't opt for any Hellions, which a lot of Terrans will go into like a Reaper expand. Go ahead and get some Hellions out, get that early game map control back in their favor. Because, with no metabolic boost out, it's really not going to have a lot of damage done. Now, we do have a Baneling Nest on the way, and Overlord Speed was done. I don't see an Evo Chamber just yet, but I imagine that's going to set up for some Bane Drops. So the Bane Drops are going to be a factor here, and, Bane Drops are very, very, yeah, okay, he poked in with the Overlord here to see exactly what Terran would do in terms of response. So which means he should go ahead and bring this back and morph that with the Evo Chamber here shortly. There it is. Going to go ahead and take up the layer as well. And this is going to be a really interesting play here that Wito here is going to have to go in and toss out. Now this might be pronounced Wito, like It's only one I, so Wito sounds about right. Like ditto, widow. I've always wondered what some of these temples were. Like, why is there just like a mineral rock floating up here? Like, what is so special about this mineral rock? Never noticed it actually has a sound with it. Ascension to Ire actually reminds me of like a World of Warcraft map. Because like the way the pine trees are and the textures and everything. We do have a Liberator on the way out here for Willow that did get spotted by an Overlord, I do believe. It looked like there was one there, did see it. But either way, it's going to get over here and this Queen should be able to just deflect that very, very easily. A little disappointed. He did poke in with the Overlord. He's not showing any kind of drop aggression. And at this point, a drop in Terran right now, like dropping Terran with Banelings is absolutely devastating. We may be able to throw down mules, but we still have to wait for the SCVs to come out. And Willow is going to go ahead and have to reposition this Liberator. He can actually have positioned it right here behind these Evo chambers, and the Queen won't be able to reach that without walking through it. She's got to walk all the way around. Going to pick up one more drone kill, 2 more drone kills, and this poor Liberator operator is just going to get dropped. Or, like, Big Mama Queen derping a little bit there. I wonder what the glitch is going on with these animations, because a lot of these animations just disappear. They don't actually just, like, explode like they normally would. They just disappear. Anyway, Willow has this marine tank composition here. He should start adding in some medevacs here soon. He's actually adding in... Mate, you're not playing a TVT. Why are you... What? You're playing a TVZ. You're not playing a TVT. Why are you building a TVT army comp? Stem of combat shield about to finish up. The third base is on the way. Now, Wito can easily just poke up here and see this. He does have some Vikings out here. He's actually building 2 more Vikings for some reason. I get why these Vikings are here. You know, just to, you know, oh, snap, Vikings out. Time to run my Overlords back home. And that's exactly what Wito is going to do. That's always entertaining because, like, you pop these Overlords out here. Early game, this is like for your vision. And then Terra pops out an Overlord or a Viking. You guys are Overlord hunting. And it's like, hey, look. Now it just runs them on home. I'm actually going to send these 2 up here to the north, you know. Just keep scouting around these Vikings. Actually, that's something that as a Terran I do as well. I will pop out the Pult Viking and just run it around the map and find Overlords where I can and even fly it over to Zerg base because then that gives me some scouting. So whenever that Viking passes over, I get updated on what's going on. And now I can actually just kind of react to him a little bit easier. But I'm just curious as to where our Terran plans are going with this. I mean, looks like he just wants to play a heavy macro game. Third base does finish up, or yeah, third base for Zerg. That's been down for a while. Third base for Terran. I got this, I promise. Does finish up. A lot of Banelings being morphed in here. It looks like Wito is just going to go ahead and, you know, Hydroling bling his way to victory. His third base does now start morphing into what looks like is going to be an orbital command center. An orbital on the low ground, no less. The Mule Hammer comes down. Going to get that economy up and rolling. Now, in this position as a rogue, I find it funny he expanded down here to the low ground. And just keeping all his army up on the high road. You know, this is where you start to build your SimCity up down here on the low ground as well. Just so your opponent can't just run in here and Bane bust everything. And you just get free damage done, get your third base. So you SimCity up a little bit, some depots, some more barracks, you know, just make that harder for Zerg to just run in on. And you need to put some army down there. We do have armory on the way. Just building Marines, Marauders, and some tanks, you know. Okay. Sounds about right. Hydroling Blink, tanks are a pretty good unit for that. Throwing down scans here, trying to figure out exactly what his opponent is up to. You know, he's like, oh, well, there's no army on the high ground. He does have base. He does scan the army. He does see it moving out. More Banelings are on the way. And here we go. It looks like Zerg is just going to go ahead and push out with 2-2 finishing up. This third base is completely exposed right now on the low ground. There's absolutely no way Terra could defend that without having some tanks here in position to actually deal with it. So honestly, this maxed out army right here, Zerg, is probably just going to be enough to just to flat out in this game. He won't be able to bust the front just yet, but he will be able to knock Terran back down to 2 base. And Terran's actually supply capped right now. He's going to get that freed up, throw down a couple depots. Also, Terran also going to move out, so this army supply of Wito is just going to be far, like, way forward than he's going to be able to handle. To stem forward, and he's not going to be able to split on the ramp. You have to back up. The tanks are actually going to come in behind it. And he's going to try to shoot his tanks up. The banelings is rolling right through this Terran army. And the tanks is going to disappear on the move out there for Terran, also giving up that position on this natural. Medevacs, everything going to cleaned up, and Rogue just going to go ahead and quit out. He's not even going to say that GG. That's going to be game number 1 in this best of 3 series. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into game number 2. Hey, I'm a poet and I didn't even know it. And looky here, we go to Neon Violet Square. Figures the last game of the series is when we actually start to see everything. Now, I imagine Wito actually promoted out of Platinum. I don't believe I casted a game with him yet. So I don't ever recall him being in like Plat or Diamond or where he started. So admins, please check into that. Make sure this is actually a legit play. And make sure he did just promote out recently. If you listen in on this. Anyway, spawning into the top left-hand corner, currently up 1-0 in the series. He goes by the name of Wito. And in the bottom right-hand corner, our blue Terran player. He goes by the name of Wolo. Otherwise Rogue. TVZ, TVZ. Nothing has really changed about TVZ matchup in the long run, believe it or not. I guess with the exception of the Infestors not being able to burrow and just fungal everything down, you know, the fungal actually slowing instead of actually killing off army. Or keeping it there. So all in all, the TVZ matchup really hasn't changed much. Now, Wolo here is going to go ahead and, you know, do that Reaper expand once again. At least I hope he is. I mean, on this map it is a lot harder to get a Reaper into the main, as there's only one way up for that Reaper. Also, you gotta love the main part of town here. It's just showing Nova in all her glory. That actually, wow, that's actually freaking out my game a little bit. Like, especially, like, say, oh yeah, this is a billboard, like a digital billboard, but like, the way it works there is actually really, really weird. But anyway, LNT. BJ's Clan Shack. Both players just playing that macro game once again. I can never see this side over here, so I don't know exactly what is over here. What is that? Xenix? It's like a do not enter, so is there like a generator sign or something back there? That's interesting. It's probably one of my new favorite maps in the map pool because there's just so much around the map. Like, there's just so much here. Like, if you look, we're actually over some kind of city, or it's some kind of city. Like a lot of like sidewalks and so forth. But what's underneath there? Why is it so built up that you can't see all the way down into the lower reaches? It's really interesting. Futuristic cities, man. We're all floating and stuff. We got here. We got another command center about to finish up. We're a natural command center about to finish up here. A couple queens on the way. And again, we have Overlord speed kicking again. This is this upgrade style that kind of delays speed a little bit, but it gets you a lot of scouting information out early. We do have a very similar opening once again. Now, Wolo just seems like he's one of those players that just sticks to his guns. You know, he just, this has worked for me down in my league. I'm going to keep playing this way. I'm just going to macro up and build a whole bunch of army. I'm down here in my lower league. This works for me. Now, up there in Diamond, that changes. That changes. Because, like, you try to play a macro game with Diamond players, like, higher than Diamond, it starts to be like, oh, you just want to be a macro? Well, what happens if I pressure you a little bit? What happens if I push you and see which way you go? Now, Wito going to go ahead and take this third base. Of course, macro, you do have a lot of army to defend with. Or, you know, attack with. But couple Overlord buddies just hanging out back here. What are the police looking for? Why do the police have like sponsorship on the side of their screen, like ships? like Nova Corps looking for people. Anyway, yep, macro games will always like this guy's very slow starts before it actually starts to pick up. So that's why we look around. We have a Valerian over here. Give us some kind of speech or something like that. I wonder if that's actually the portrait he might have for Heroes of the Storm. Is that one right there? And before Leaked Hero comes out in StarCraft for a different game. So all in all, again, just both players are going to do the same exact composition. Going to go to that Ling Blink Buta. We do have the Liberator going to pop out here. Possibly for a little bit of harassment. Try and find some drone kills. Now, a Liberator getting quite a few drone kills can start to rack up. But, you know, when you're Zerg, you have 8 range queens. You just build queens, win the game. GG. Blizzard, queen nerf win. Even, like, a nerf to their health would make it absolutely beautiful. So, like, if you reduce the queen's health a little bit, I don't think a lot of Terrans would complain about the range of the queens at that point, because it's actually a lot easier to kill off the queen. Anyways, we do move into the later stages of this game. It's going to be the 2-base Terran. Still macroing up, building Marines and tanks. Going to go ahead and start the Viking production up behind that, more than likely. As a Liberator, wanting to find a position here. I mean, he's got spores on the way, which are going to be able to, you know, help out with that Liberator harassment. What time is it, kids? 11:14. After the... Alright. Surprisingly enough, this Liberator does find 4 kills right away, but these queens are just going to go ahead and knock that down. Liberator, Operator. Why do you got to park there? This is a no park zone. No fly zone. Get on out of here. And again, right now, I really like Terra's position, but he's just not really applying any pressure besides that Liberator. It's like testing the waters. Oh man, you got queens. I can't harass you, so I'm just going to sit back here and build army. If you were to move out right now with this composition alone, you would have to force Zerg to build so much army to do damage. And you know, he picked a map that's entirely too big for that, though. I mean, look, you have to go all the way up middle here. And the only way for Terra to really move tanks around is to pick them up and fly them, or, you know, you rotate around these, like, pachinko machines while the rest of your army gets through the pachinko machines. Nut wall off. Supply depot walls, man. Every Zerg's favorite thing to bust. But all in all, you know, this is just a pretty standard macro game. From both sides just droning up. 4th base coming down here. There's back expansion. I forgot all about this back expansion. This base, as you see, only has enough for like 8 drones, 8 SCVs. But it's for the gas mostly. I mean, there's double gas here. That's a fully saturatable gas, and it actually has, you know, full gas versus everything else. Like, it's here. Full gas. So it's not really GIMP gas, it's GIMP minerals. But it's mostly for a gas base. It's like an emergency expand. But for Zerg, why not take a free pocket expo? It's actually really hard to pressure in any regards. There's not a lot of flyby room back here behind these bases. And 8 range queens, especially up here at the top, would just be able to like shoot right through those. Actually, I think there's more room down here in the south than there is up in the north. Maybe it's just a camera angle. We do got some missile turrets being added on for Wolo, aka the Rogue himself. I feel he needs more barracks at this point if you're just going to build missile turrets, mate. How many turrets we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The TPM is through the roof. Turrets per minute. 5 turrets per minute so far. That's 500 mineral. That's a 3rd base, which you do have done. Sure. But that's a 3rd base or a 4th base that you could be building. As well as a few more barracks to really ramp up that army production. Surprisingly enough, he's staying on equal terms right now with the army production. I mean, upgrade is a muscular augment, difficult hooks, you know, the standard loadout for Terran or Zerg. And he's just going to go for it. He's like, yep, alright, 9 minutes in. You should have an army. I should have an army. I'm going to go punch you in the face and see what happens. Not literally punch him in the face. Figuratively, just smack. Banes are going to roll up the front. Now, there are a lot of tanks here. Now, one thing Wolo hasn't done is move out. He hasn't decided to just, alright, time to go for an attack and move out. So, he's in a really good position here just to defend. And now, this is a mistake that a lot of players are going to make. Tank shot. Oh, like, not going to work. Now, this does put Terran in a very interesting position to be able to just build an army to fight this. But what happens when this fire starts? When you haven't put a single bit of pressure on your opponent and he just goes on the Spire and he's going to go Broodlords and win the game. I'm sorry, I completely just ruined this entire match now. It's not really going to be a surprise when you see this, like, the situation come down. This is why you just kind of fill it with like pointless rambling and puns and memes. Just kind of take a look around here and see exactly what's going on. Another scan. Gonna confirm that army is still hanging outside his base. I mean, there's other ways in here. But this is a map Terra could easily just tuck in on and just kind of, yeah, I got siege tanks, come and get me. But you know, when Hive is on the way and 2-2, and the Greater Spire is about to come down, what exactly are you going to be able to do as a Terran? This is where you go, hey, I might want to start building some Vikings here, because that might help against Broodlords. Cha-ching. Nope. Just gonna build some Liberators. Kinda helps. Build more tanks and Marauders, because, you know, sure, bio. And I understand, like, what a Rogue's position, too, here, because, you know, he's playing against a league that, honestly, is not supposed to be in JSL. He's a Diamond player. But I guess he just promoted recently, so that's why he's able to finish out the season. And you're playing against a league that is honestly like 2 tiers above you. So you just, like, it's like spawning up into a ladder game, an unranked ladder game for me playing Diamond, and you come along as a gold player, and you're like, why am I playing a gold player? Or why am I playing a Diamond player? That makes no sense. Blizzard, what's going on here? Mostly, that's just a situation on ladder where you're just a fall guy. You're there so I can play a game. And you know, it's a game I should usually be able to win, right? Look, he's going to run up here. He's just sacrificing them. He's not really trying to get any damage with these, you know. It would have been interesting to see him run up there and actually try to attack these supply depots. But he's just freeing up supply because what he needs are the Broodlords. And that's something Terran is not prepared for. Because once of these Broodlords start to come down with no Vikings, there's no way to answer these Broodlords. Now, +2 melee is also on the way, so he's just... Widow's is over here like, yeah, man, I was going to build base, you know, expand, have a good game. You know, just keep teching up. This Terran is tucked in nice and tight. He hasn't really been able to attack, so he's not trading out supplies. So when he maxes out, he's going to want to move out a bit. Meanwhile, Rogue's like, okay, I'm feeling pretty safe. He hasn't been able to pressure me at all. I'm just going to build a base. I'm going to expand. Because that's what Terran will do. We'll just expand. So the Overlord hit squad flying around looking for base. But here we go. Broodlords are morphing in. And with no Vikings in play, there's only 2 so far. I think he's finally figured it out. Does he know about the Greater Spire? Did he scan for the Greater Spire? He didn't. He's just blind building Vikings here because he has to assume that that's the next stages. But he's going to need a lot of Vikings to actually knock this down. Now, if he can get rid of the army on the low ground, he can actually just stem out underneath the Broodlords and kill them that way. But honestly, I mean, as a Terran, you're not going to come down this ramp. We got a pressure at the front. He should have waited for the Broodlords. He is going to be able to bust the front very, very easily here. Broodlords are going to come out here. He's kind of baiting some of this Terran. But get back in the fight. And here we go. The Broodlords are out. Going to get on top of these tanks and start knocking down these tanks. And I don't like this engagement. This was not a good engagement for Wito here at all. He should have engaged with the Broodlords first. Because now Terran can honestly just keep pushing down this ramp. And actually kill off this army. Now the army supply did just swing right back to equal on both sides. But again, what do you do as Terran here? You've allowed Zerg to reach this 5 base economy, and they could just turn around with the bank they have and be like, oh no, I lost my... Wait, never mind. I got more lings made. I don't know what to tell you here. Hydras are going to come out. The tanks are going to siege up, but the lings are already on top of this siege tank line. Tanks having to focus on them and not the broodlings. But also the splash damage here raining all over the bio. He's realizing he's going to unsiege these. He's besieging his tanks! Oh no! Rogue! Willow! Whoa, what are you doing? My Terran heart just cringed a bit. And that's going to be it. I mean, there's nothing here Terran has left. But the GG Lord's in play. There's absolutely nothing left that you can do here as a Terran player to get back into this game. And that's going to be it, guys. Wito going to close the series out 2-0 on a quick 2-0 series. And that is going to be it for the JSL recap.